Thank you for that. Give me chills.
It's so deserved. Thank you all for being here. I am so excited to get to talk to Dwayne about this project, about his work, because I feel like the word transformational gets overused in this business, but what you did in this film is truly, truly transformational on every level. Transformation physically and vocally and emotionally, but I want to start with the physical because a lot of times guys have it easy because you guys roll in, we're there 2 hours early getting the hair and the makeup done, but you felt our pain on this one because you had all these prosthetics. I'm sure you had to come in very early. Will you talk to us about the transformative process of looking more like Mark Kerr?
Sure. The process was about 3.5 to 4 hours every day in the makeup chair. So I was feeling your pain, ladies. And that was daily, and it was approximately 23 prosthetics overall. But what's interesting is I think this is one of the reasons why Kazuhiro, who is our prosthetic makeup artist, is one of the greatest, or considered the greatest of all time, in that he made the prosthetics so, in a way, subtle. 23 of them that you didn't really notice, and you think, but it was new eyebrows, not just the brows, the hair, but the placement of them, the top of my eyes, all up in here, some nose, cauliflower ears, scars. It was a lot, but it was also the most important thing. One of the most important things in order to immerse yourself. And very early, I felt like if I was gonna do this and do it right, then I had to embody Mark Kerr, and you guys know what this means, so get the skin. And in the process of doing that, I can't tell you just how invaluable it was. I'd have my work, and I'd look down at my phone and do my work, and about every 20, 30 minutes, I'd look up. Something else would be different. Look up, something else would be different. Then by the end of about 3.5 to 4 hours, I'd look up, and that was Mark Kerr by the time I left that trailer.
It really honors your work because you have the burden of being one of the most famous human beings on the planet. And yet this story is so important to honor Mark Kerr's story. We had to forget about The Rock. And your work so elegantly makes us forget about it, but the prosthetics help us visually to go on that journey with you. So it's like the pieces really honor the inner work that you were doing.
Thank you for saying that, and that was something that was important to me, but also on a I've been doing this for quite some time. I love what I do, so we love what we do. But I didn't know if I could disappear. And I wanted that, and I would always look at my friends who are great actors, who we all know, and I watch them disappear, and I think, God, I want to do that. And then I didn't know if I could, and then I would get met with, oh no, you're fine how you are, you can't disappear because you look how you look. And then when I got with Benny Safdie, and then we got with Kazu, and that fear that I had and that concern, that insecurity kind of just started diminishing the more I worked with Kazu and Benny. And Benny said something really cool I want to share with you guys. So there's the version, you guys have seen now what Mark Kerr looks like for real in real life at the end, when he was shopping for groceries.
We're all like, who's that guy?
Yeah. I know.
Who's the other guy I watched?
Which was, I think, kind of a bold move to do that, which Benny wanted to do. And
it only works as a bold move because you're so good. Because if he came on screen and it didn't remind us of you, it would take us out of the movie. But he comes on screen and affirms and confirms your performance.
Yeah.
Wow, by the way, thank you for saying that too, because that's what Benny said. So my own, before we started to shoot the movie, my own insecurities were at times taking over, and when I read that, because he had added that in the script, and then I saw it and I called him and I said, said, the real Mark you want? He goes, yeah, it's the real Mark. He's shopping for groceries and he's gonna drive away in his pickup truck. I got nervous because I felt like people would reject that, or it may remind them that, oh, right, I was watching The Rock the whole time. And then I said to Benny, are you sure you want to do that? And he said, well, if we do a great job, and he goes, and if you do the job that I believe you're gonna do, when they see him, they'll go, wow, DJ did a great job. And you're absolutely right for saying that.
So let's back up a little, because I love that you talk about time, and I really love that you so boldly shared in this room that you were afraid you couldn't disappear. Because I don't associate you with fear. You and the characters you play are so bold and brave. But this is a courageous, artistic swing. And so I want to talk about how this came to be, because I know you learned about Mark Kerr a long time ago, and then you took your time to come to this project. Talk to me about that.
I did.
Or us. Talk to us about
that.
I'm being so selfish.
It's all good. We're all in it. I saw the documentary in the mid-2000s, I think, and I was really moved by the documentary. Moved at this guy who, and by the way, I knew of Mark Kerr, like in the world of wrestling and combat sports, and even boxing, like you, and MMA, you knew who he was. He was a legend by that point, by the time the documentary came out. But I didn't know his deeper story. I didn't know his addictions. I didn't know his overdoses. He actually overdosed twice. And he's lucky to be alive today. And he knows it. He's so grateful. And I was moved by the story of a guy who, wow, he had it all, lost everything, and it was okay. And life just went on. And there was something about, even back then when I saw the documentary, that had intrigued me, in that it wasn't the Rocky story, where at the end, I love Rocky movies, right? Where, especially 1 and 2, where at the end, especially 2, he wins and it's amazing, and we like happy endings, but in this case, there was something intriguing about this. And also, as time went on, so I saw the documentary and I thought, this could be interesting one day to make into a film. But at that time, I was in my mid-30s, kind of still new into acting and feeling myself out. And as time went on, I realized that I finally had the, I don't know, maybe the guts to take the count. And I counted of all my friends who lost their life there. And these are all wrestlers and fighters who lost their lives to addiction and struggle and suicide, and there was 15. And my other one, who was my best friend, happened a few years ago. And so the story meant something different as life went on. And so in 2017 or 18, I was feeling this thing inside of me that was looking for the challenge. Like for a long time, I was chasing, as we all do, chasing the passion that we love and chasing acting and storytelling. But also, truth is, grabbed by this idea of box office and what box office means, and what that can mean to your career. And that for me meant, oh, I'm never going to get evicted again, and I can afford the stuff that I want to afford for my family. Success, yeah. Yes. It's what success looks like. Security, right. And then around 2017 or 18, I thought, well, I think there's more, and I want to do more. What is more? And then I just woke up one morning and I went, God, Mark Kerr, that story. And what a challenge that would be, and what a love letter that would be for my friends who, are not here today.
Wow. So, courage in you, which I just want to really acknowledge that for all of us creatives in the room, like when you get that call on your spirit to do something that scares you, those are the moments that really matter as an artist, I think. And so you get that calling, and then you surround yourself with people to support you. You have Kazu, who helps with the prosthetics, you worked with a vocal coach? Because that voice is different from anything we've ever heard you do before.
Yes.
How did you do
Her
that?
name was Liz Himmelstein, and she came to me through Emily, and she was with Emily for Kitty Oppenheimer and a few other roles. Emily said, we started talking about the character, and I said, he's from the middle of Ohio. He has such a specific accent. She goes, hey, I want to introduce you to Liz, and I worked with Liz, and that again was a fascinating experience because I didn't know this until she said it. She said, and our first week of research and study and trying to understand like the modulation of our voices. And we just naturally talk. It's just like how we breathe. We don't really think about it, or at least I didn't.
But it's an instrument.
But it's an instrument.
Yeah.
And I only used to think about it on like Moana, like animated films, where you know you have to bring your voice to life. But she said, and I was having a little bit of a hard time getting it. And she said, well, look at it this way. She goes, when you talk, you speak from the ground up. And I went, okay. And she goes, Mark speaks from here up. It doesn't make him less anchored. It just means he not only just does he speak from here, it's a little softer, and he has that accent, And then she said, and every word out of his mouth has a curiosity to it. Like he's curious. Wow, look at that. Wow, where'd you get that? That's amazing. How you doing? It's like that kind of.
Do you think he spoke that way to counterbalance his size?
That's a great question.
When I watch you, it's almost like we're not afraid of you because of that voice. Even though we see you in the ring doing those things, the voice allows him to connect with people.
Yes, I love that. He was, and he still is very aware of when he comes into a room, and I think maybe this is why I love giving him his flowers, because he could have. I mean, at one time he was the greatest fighter on the planet. He could walk into a room, own the room, speak from the ground up, and be that guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He kept all of that at bay to make people feel more comfortable, and you can come to me. It's okay. Very soft-spoken. He is a very soft-spoken, very, very kind man. Very emotional. We cry very quickly.
Okay, I want to ask you about Emily and working with Emily, because I want to know exactly at what point in making one of my favorite movies, The Jungle Cruise, you look at her and think, I want to wrestle with this woman in a suicidal bathroom moment. I mean, those kitchen scenes are like, they're devastating. You feel like you're watching something you're not supposed to be watching. And I want you, if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to tell this group, especially the story of what Emily said to you in the bathroom after that scene. I heard you tell that, when you told that story the other night, at the end, when you guys were finished shooting that scene, sitting on the floor of the bathroom, she said to you 4 words. Do you remember? Do you want me to tell you? I love this story so much because I think this is really important to know as an actor. They were doing this scene, and they were doing the scene, and it was a very heightened emotional scene, and she's tiny compared to him, but he was having a hard time holding her, and they were sweaty, and they were just wrung out emotionally. And you were telling the story as what an extraordinary person she is, but Emily turned to you and said, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
And I wanted everybody to hear that story. Thanks.
No.
Because I want you to know that that's important as actors. We have to take care of each other in those moments. But also, you didn't finish the story. Like, I actually was wondering, were you okay? Because what you did in that scene was tremendous. And I know those days when you're set, you can't stop shaking, you're on your way home, were you okay?
No, and that's the truth, and we've all been in that situation as actors.
If we're lucky.
If we're lucky, thank you for bringing that up, by the way. And by the way, that was a first for me. Like a film like this, and a scene like that that's 8 minutes long. And that was, by the time she held a gun up, and by the time I broke the door down to the bathroom, that was all one take. And
he makes that door look like a matchbox.
My shoulder's still not the same. It's true. But thank you for bringing that up, because that is what we do. And we do take care of each other, and we have to be there for each other. And I knew that to a degree, making a certain type of film. Big box office films, a 4-quadrant, those. There's a place for that in our business, and I love making them, and they're a lot of fun. But I didn't know the emotional toll or the importance of going elsewhere until, and if we're lucky, and I didn't know how lucky I was until, watch your feet, I'm gonna drop a name here. I talked to Matt Damon, who watched it, and he said, I've been in this business for over 30 years. He said, I hope to one day be that lucky where I can have that grace. The kind of grace where I can just do this and take all the stuff that I've had and just pour it into something in this moment. And he was specifically talking about that intimate scene. And afterwards, so that particular scene, as we were talking in the back, I in my career, the truth is, I have not had a place to put all the stuff and the trauma and the pain that I've gone through as a kid. I haven't had a place to put it other than in here. And that's not that healthy, as you realize. Until now. Until, this wild thing happened where it's like, I could do the thing I love to do, which is tell stories and act, and then put all this stuff there. Because I used to have this thought and this theory or this philosophy that, wait a second, that's my stuff to figure out. I don't want to put that on the screen. I don't want the audience to go through that. I'll do it, and I'll do it privately. But I want to present just the good stuff for them. Send them home floating is what I used to say. And so I realized in this film and in that scene that, I have a place to put it. And we had that scene, and Benny said to us, wherever you guys go, I would love you, if you can, to end up on the floor, holding her. And I said, okay. And I already knew in my head that, sorry, I'm nervous now telling you the story. I already knew that what I was going to tap into, like as a kid, like I've witnessed fights like that with my own mom and dad, where you see things as a kid you shouldn't see. And then a lot of times I remember hearing things, getting woken up in the middle of the night. And when you're a kid and you're hearing things and you're left up to your imagination, well, that's not good either, because you're thinking stuff and things you shouldn't be thinking. But so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go there. This is it for me. So we have the scene, and then I'm sorry. Right before the scene, I said to Benny, I said, I'm just curious. We'll go wherever you would like us to go. I'll do my best to get Emily on the floor. And I said, I'm just curious why. And he said, because I've gone through that, where I was holding somebody who wanted to take their life, and we wound up on the floor. I went, okay, say no more. So, by the way, the house, like the bathtub was marble. That was a real house that he built on a soundstage, but he didn't want to build it like how we would typically build our sets, where the walls are movable. He wanted everything structured like a real house so he could hide the cameras.
Yeah.
So we never saw a camera when we walked into any of the houses. That's a blessing.
Wow.
So imagine, when you guys walk on the set, you never see a camera, you never see a lighting setup, everything was in the ceiling.
Wow. So you could really disappear into the moment.
You go elsewhere, and you completely disappear. We had the scene, we wind up on the ground, and I've never in my life held another human being who did not want to be held, and the last place they wanted to be is in my arms, and they're screaming things that you don't want to hear. You heard it. And not only that, Emily she's such a force as an actor. She goes to those places that are just, now I've witnessed it, that's hard to do. And you guys know, it's just hard to do, hard to go there. she goes there with all she's got. She acts 10 feet tall. She is such a force, and I remember holding her. And it was such a wild feeling because she, in my arms, was the last place she wanted to be, and on Earth was the last place she wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because in real life, Dawn took the gun, she put it up to her head, and she pulled the trigger. But Mark kept bullets in another safe. And so we knew that going in. And so I had chills. So after that scene, I was just wrecked.
Yeah.
And we were wrecked. And I was holding her with all I had, and I thought I had like hurt her, and her arms were probably gonna be bruised for weeks. I was like, man, I hurt a good friend, and I said, are you okay? And she's sobbing and trying to gather herself, and I'm sobbing too. And Benny comes in and he's sobbing. And she said, are you okay? And I'll never forget that, because it's like, it's what you said, it's how important it is. Like, we take care of each other.
We have
That's what
to.
we do. We have to.
It's the only way we go those places. How did making this film change you? Because I'm so, even this conversation, like, I'm a fan. I've seen you do so many interviews. I've never seen you this way in a conversation about your work, this thoughtful, this intentional and specific. And I'm really curious how this experience of doing something that you were scared to do and doing it well, how it changed you.
It unlocked, I think, something in me, and the thing that it unlocked was it's okay to be afraid to do something. It's okay to be scared to do something. You have to, at some point, you're either going to walk away from it, not face it, it's okay, or face it. And I reached this point in my life where I have a beautiful wife at home, and three beautiful daughters, and I got a good life, and I thought, wait, but I want more, and I want to challenge myself. And what is that? And that's what this film allowed me to do. And also, you realize that it's the blessing, it's the greatest blessing in the world to be able to tell stories, I think, and to act, and to be able to, now I understand, take the stuff that you've gone through and put it somewhere, and put it into these characters, and see what happens.
I want you to know that, I know that the priority for you before was to send us home floating, but what you did here is equally important, because you send us home with a sense of belonging. Because when you feel you know you're not alone. Right? You know you're not alone in your suffering. You know you're not alone in your struggle. And that is just as important as the joy, is that sense of like, my humanity is, connects me to other people's suffering.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because I felt for some time like this idea of hey, it's going to be audience first, and we got to take care of the audience. But then this thing you realize, like, wait a second, we got one life. Take care of you. Take care of you first. What do you want to do? Now you go after that thing, and you do that.
And your
also,
curiosities will lead you to your success.
Yes.
But
and hold up a mirror, by the way. That's one of the things that this does. Is you hold up a mirror, you look at yourself, and hold up the mirror to the audience too as well.
So they're giving me the cue, but I want to ask you a question, because I was very struck by the end of this film. Yeah. Because you don't often see an ending where the hero loses. And I thought it was such an interesting choice for you and for Benny, because you don't lose. Like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not somebody who loses, ever. And so I was really curious why that message drew you, why you felt it was important to not end the film as a winner.
Because it's not life. it's not real. It's not. I appreciate this idea of this image, you know, that I built from wrestling. Wrestling and then carried over into Hollywood, and I get it, but it's just not real life, and we do get kicked and we get knocked down, and we go through our shit and we try to figure it out. We make mistakes along the way, and then, you know, I got a wife. You might have Lauren's here now. There she's right there. She doesn't have Lauren. Like 17 years in or 18 years in, and like we're still going through this. Like trying to figure it out. You know, it's like that. I'm trying to figure it out. She's been amazing. But it's just because it's just not real. And I felt like, you know, there was something that there's a time and a place, I think, for characters like that I love. For example, we started shooting Jumanji, I told you this, like 2-3 weeks ago. And I'm excited about that. We did live action Moana, I'm excited about that. But a character like Mark Kerr, a character like what I'm creating with Watch Your Feet, I'm dropping names, Darren Aronofsky, Martin Scorsese, it's like I like this idea of, and I know it sounds so simple, but it's important, which is you walk into a room as a character and you don't know where to look, and you don't know what to do, you don't have all the answers, and you have questions. And it's like for years, I played the other kind of character, which again, there's a place for them who knows exactly where to look, has all the answers, and knows how the distance between A and B, and we're gonna, you know, give me the coordinates, I'm gonna save the thing, and we're all gonna save the world. Cue the music, but I don't know, I just feel like there's just something that's so important about humanity and what that is, and finally I realized that this idea that we talked about in the beginning of like audience first, and that served me for a long time, and I'm grateful because I built a career on that, and I don't take that for granted, and it means something, because money ain't growing on trees, and people want to come to the theaters, and they do want to feel good, and this idea of audience first served me, but then I realized, wait a second, if I truly feel like I'm going to put the audience first, then wouldn't I give them all of me?
Yes.
And all of me is
that.
Smash Machine.
Yeah. I want to be respectful of your time and everyone's time. I just want to say to you that what you have allowed yourself to do in this moment by challenging yourself to put yourself first has really created a room full of people who rose to their feet for you. Because in putting yourself first, the audience is really still with you. So I'm really, really happy for you. And this is so strange to say, because we don't know each other that well, but I'm like proud of you. I just think it's such a powerful example for all actors of the importance of taking risks and being willing to go to scary places, and also to do the work so that it's effective, right? And surround yourself with excellence and people who can help you get there. So I'm really, really happy for you, but I'm also really, really happy for us, because we now get to witness the next evolution of Dwayne Johnson's journey, and we are so
Thank you so much for those beautiful words. I thank you, and thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you.